Welcome, guys, to the N&M podcast, and the Premier League is back this weekend, and we're going to bring to you a brand new feature to this channel. It's going to be the Premier League weekly predictions. First up, we've got Nathan and his prediction. I'm going to hand you over. He's going to talk you through all his predictions. Nathan, how are we?
Not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad at all. Some
Good
bit
stuff.
sketchy, some sketchy predictions there, mate. To be fair, but
Well, you say that, but I've gone with my gut feeling. They always say trust your gut, and that's what I've gone for. So we'll start off with the first game, which is an all-London affair. I won't really call it a derby, so I don't really think these two teams are rivals. But that is Fulham against Arsenal. Now, of course, Fulham back in the Premier League at the Cottage, Scotty Parker.
yeah,
Obviously, no fans in there, which would probably be at Fulham's detriment, because you imagine first day back in the Premier League at home to Arsenal, the Fulham fans would have been right up for it.
100%.
But as we live in these times, there's no fans in the stadium. So therefore, I've gone for a 3-1 win for the Gunners. Now, this is based on the sort of resilience they sort of seem to have found in the Mikel Arteta. They seem to be a lot tougher to beat. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not world beaters.
No.
I mean, Squadrons from Mustafi and Rob Holland there, but Squadron Mustafi will never be a world beater.
No.
He never will be. Hector Bellerin will never be a world-class fullback. He just won't be.
No.
But under Arteta, they seem to be more organised, more of a unit. I can just see them going to Craven Cottage and doing the job. I mean, I think Fulham will be right up for it, and I think there will be a competitive game, but I just think Arsenal have a bit too much for them on the day. So I've gone for Fulham 1, Arsenal 3.
I would agree with you on that one, 100%. I think the Gunners will take all 3 points.
So let's move on to the next game. Now, this one was quite a hard game to decide, really. It's quite two equal sides. It's at the London Stadium, and it's West Ham United versus the Magpies, Newcastle United.
Yeah.
Now, this one, West Ham, Newcastle, are kind of on an even keel. And when thinking about my prediction for this one, I just sort of thought, on the pitch, they seem to be very similar. But who's had a better pre-season or a better build-up to the season off the pitch? And you'd have to say that has to be Newcastle.
Yeah,
we saw the turmoil at West Ham after they sold Grady D and Garner to West Brom. Mark Noble tweeting out against the owners. The fans are always unhappy with the owners. Whereas Newcastle, although their takeover bid has fallen through, they have done a bit of business this window, getting in Wilson, Ryan Fraser, and the likes of that. So and Jamal Lewis from Norwich.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a bit of a more feel-good factor around Newcastle as opposed to West Ham. And I just think that might translate onto the pitch on Saturday or Sunday whenever they play. So I've gone for a 1-0 away win to Newcastle, solely based on the fact that I think they've had a slightly more positive build-up to the season. So it really is quite a close game to try and pick between the two.
I think it will be tight. I think it's never easy first game of the season predictions, is it? But no, I agree with you. The Geordies have had a better preparation, and West Ham at the moment, well, I don't know which way their season's going to go, to be honest.
They're in tatters, isn't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, now to the main one, the big game of the weekend for us. Maybe not for many people. West Brom Leicester for many people isn't a glamorous tie, but believe you me, the NN podcast to be firmly focused on this game above all else. It's our beloved Leicester City, as you can see by the flag behind me. We're taking on West Bromwich Albion at the Hawthorns, and again, similar to Fulham, a first game back in the Premier League for the Baggies. And I'm not too confident from a Leicester point of view, based on how we finished last season. The transfer window hasn't been great. We're still plagued by injuries. I'm just not confident. I'm just not feeling very confident. No one seems to know what our starting lineup's going to be.
No.
Because we've got so many players out. We're going to try and, at best, we're going to try and fit some square pegs into round holes. At best.
At best, yeah.
So I think we're going to start slowly, and and this might sound a bit daft, but I thoroughly expect West Bromwich Albion to steam out the blocks, and I think we'll be 2 or 3-0 down by half time. I do. I think Wes Morgan will just. I think this will be the 45 minutes of football that retires Wes Morgan if he's fit. I can just see it. We'll be slow out the block.
I think it's harsh, mate. To be honest, I really do. I know what you're saying. And I'm probably got my blue tinted specs on, but I think it's harsh. I do. I'm concerned. I am worried. The lack of signings does worry me. But West Brom, I don't fear them. I do fear them, and I think 3-1's harsh, but
Well, I said 3-0 at half time to West Brom. That's what I'm thinking. Then I'm thinking the second half will kind of wake up a bit, but I think it'll just be a bit too late, and I just think we'll have the fight knocked out of us. I just think they'll be more up for it than we will. We had an awful finish to the season last year.
We did.
We've not had the best pre-season.
No.
We really haven't had a very good pre-season either. But then again, not a lot of clubs have, but I just think with our injuries, obviously Johnny Evans suspended, one signing through the door, I'm just not confident. I just think we'll get blown away. I just think they'll be too chipper, too perky, too up for it, and we'll just get blown away. So I've gone for West Brom 3, Leicester 1, sadly. But of course, I'm hoping I'm wrong on that one. Moving on then. So do I. We've got the Seagulls versus the Moneybags. It's Brighton versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
And, well, I mean, it's if Chelsea don't win this game, they'll probably be the laughing stock of the Premier League of the opening week. There's always one team who has a bit of an embarrassing start to the season, and I think if Chelsea don't come away from Brighton with all 3 points, the rest of the league will turn around and point the finger and have a good old chuckle. Because once again, they've been throwing the cash left, right, and centre. We've mentioned it before in our Frank Lampard video.
Yeah.
They have been absolutely ridiculous in the transfer window. You'd think they've been playing FIFA. Honestly, the way they've gone around this transfer window, it just seems unrealistic to see. Like, if you were signing players like this, like Chelsea have this transfer window on FIFA, you think, it's a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's a bit stupid. But goodness me, and they're not done yet. There's talk of them getting another goalkeeper in from Rennes. I think
I've seen that.
Edouard Mendy.
I've seen that, yeah.
So you have to say, if Chelsea are on song, if their players do gel, then you'd think they'll just blow Brighton away, and I believe they will, because there is a real feel-good factor around that club at the moment.
They are without Chilwell and Ziyech though. First game, that is confirmed.
Chilwell is not the miss of the world, is it? We know.
No. No.
So I've gone for a 4-1 Chelsea. 4-1 Chelsea. Sorry, but then again, there is a slight possibility if these new signings don't click, they could have a bit of an embarrassing afternoon. But I just can't see it happening. I think there's too much of a feel-good factor around Stamford Bridge at the moment, too much momentum, and I fully expect Chelsea to walk over Brighton. So I've gone for 4-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah, I do think it'll be one-way traffic. I do. I agree with what you're saying. I think Chelsea will come away with 3 points, 100%.
Right then, moving on to probably the game that least excites me in this opening weekend. It's Palace v Southampton. I mean, it does not.
It doesn't whet the appetite, does it?
It's like bread with no butter, just a bit dry. It's the Eagles versus the Saints. I know I did tip Crystal Palace to finish rock bottom of the league, and they have today bought in Michy Batshuayi, and that has not changed my prediction at all.
No.
Because I think he's a pile of shit. So that side of Michy Batshuayi has not done anything to convince me Palace are going to stay up.
Absolutely not.
Southampton, we think they're going to do okay, but I've gone for 1-1. I see this game being quite a cagey start to the season. I think both teams will be desperate not to lose. I think especially Palace will be very, very desperate not to lose their first home game, and I think Southampton would be quite happy with an away point first day of the season, as most teams would be. So I can just see this being a drawn out 1-1. So there's not much more to say on that one. I just think it's going to be quite a damp squib 1-1. Yeah, both teams will probably be quite happy with it.
Yeah.
And then moving on to probably the most controversial, I'd say, of my fixture selections is the game at Anfield for Leeds. It's Liverpool versus Leeds. Now, a lot of people look at this and think, what you want about? I mean, I said the other week, I don't jump on this train that Leeds are a sleeping giant, massive club, and they're going to come into the Premier League and take it by storm.
No.
I think that's far from the truth. I think there are far bigger clubs in current English football than Leeds United.
Yeah.
Anywho, there is a very good feel-good factor around Leeds at the moment with Marcelo Bielsa, and they're going to work their socks off. And this has been a big day for them. I mean, they came down with us, didn't they, in 2004?
Yes.
And they've not been back since.
Yes, they did.
It's been a long old time since Leeds United have been in the Premier League.
Yes, 16
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. Really think how long they've been out of the Premier League. But Liverpool, once again, I mentioned it, I think, in my prediction video. Last year, they really put everything into winning the league. It was so big, such a big deal for them. Such intensity, so driven to get that done. And since they won the league, they seem to have fallen off a bit. In the summer, they've not really signed anyone. Their squad depth isn't great. And I just think Leeds will catch Liverpool on a bit of a down. I think Liverpool will be quite slow out the blocks this season. And I think Leeds will go there. I mean, don't get me wrong. 19 times out of 20, Liverpool blow Leeds away.
Oh, yeah,
because they're a far superior team. But I just have a feeling this will be this 1 in 20 game where Leeds hang on for dear life and nick 2 goals on the counter-attack. I can have a feeling it'll be 2-2.
The buzz will be there, won't it? The buzz will be there.
Yeah, and then old Leeds fans will wank himself into a coma before being 6 points adrift at bottom at Christmas. So
yeah,
but I've gone for 2.
I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be tight. Leeds will have the buzz.
It's far fetched, but you get my logic. Yeah, it's far fetched.
Leeds will have the buzz, and like you say, Leeds, Liverpool will have the hangover. They will. There's if that team as a whole have kind of achieved all they can achieve now. Champions League, Premier League, you know,
Club World
and
Cup, yeah.
as silly as that sounds, some players just don't have the right mentality and struggle to pick up to go again and find that motivation. Not to say they won't do anything this year, because I think they will be up there. But I agree with what you're saying. First day, they're not going to be as motivated as Leeds, and Leeds could make something.
I think they'll just be slow out the blocks, and like we said, that intensity to go again. I just think it might take them a few games to really warm up.
Yeah.
Into the season and get back to those levels.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, moving on then to probably one of the more tightly contested games, and probably one that because I made these predictions a few days ago, and since then a bit has happened in the transfer window, especially involving Everton.
Very much so.
I went for 2-1. I went for 2-1 Tottenham. It's obviously at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but since then Everton have bought in James Rodriguez, Allen, and Abdoulaye Doucouré. So. Some good signings there, but I'm going to stick to my 2-1 Tottenham because I seem to remember a few years ago Everton thought they'd won the league by buying Gylfi Sigurdsson and Michael Keane and all that crowd, and it just didn't. And Wayne Rooney came back, and it just didn't seem to work out. So I think historically when Everton throw money at something, it seems to blow up in the face.
Yeah.
So I don't think James Rodriguez will have the desired effect in the Premier League. I rate Doucouré, although he did get relegated with Watford, so he can't be that good if you're going down with Watford.
Well, yeah.
And that Allen's 29. I don't know. I think they've improved. They've definitely improved their midfield, but I'm still sticking to a 2-1 Tottenham win. So I think Mourinho, he's a master of all occasions, isn't he? He'll know exactly how to handle Everton.
Yeah. It'll be tight. It will be tight.
Harry Kane's fit as well. So obviously played in both games for England, looked sharp, looked good. Nearly scored the winner the other night against Denmark. So I just see Spurs just having at home as well. I think Spurs will have a good season this year. I think Mourinho's first full season in charge, and I think games like Everton at home are games that he's renowned for winning.
Yeah.
Games where he doesn't matter how they play, but he gets the result. And I think that's how it's going to end up. So I've gone for Tottenham 2, Everton 1.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be there or thereabouts.
And then moving on to my final prediction, my final game of this game week. It is the Blades versus Wolves, Sheffield United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers at Bramall Lane, and I've gone for 2-2. Now, once again, Sheffield United last season overachieved. Will they be hit by second season syndrome? I don't know. They've done a bit of business in the transfer window. They've bought in Jamal Lowe. What's the other kid's name? But 2 lads from Derby. Jamal Lowe. Bogle. Jaden Bogle.
I think they're in for Ollie Burke as well, aren't they? From West Brom.
They've got him. Yeah, they did a swap deal with Callum Robinson.
Yeah.
So I think it's a decent Aaron Ramsdale as well. It's a solid bit of business. Are there massive improvements on what they already had? Maybe not, but it's more depth. I don't think Sheffield United will be in any trouble. I think they might struggle a little bit from second season syndrome. They might drop off a little bit, but I don't think they'll be in any danger. I think I predicted them to come in mid-table. But home game, first game of the season, they're especially hard to beat at Bramall Lane, so I can see it being 2-2. Wolves, last Doherty, but they brought in some good youngsters.
Yeah.
They brought in that centre-half from Lyon, a bit of experience there as well. I expect another solid season for us, but on this opening day, I just have a feeling it'll be 2-2. I think it'll be quite a good open game, actually.
Yeah.
2 attacking teams, lots of good football played, some good goals, and I think it'll probably be one of the more entertaining games of the opening day. So it's 2 very good footballing teams. So yeah, I think it'll be 2-2.
Yeah, no, like I say, some solid predictions in there, Nate. We'll now look at mine and see what wonderful predictions I've managed to come up with.
But see how different they are.
Yeah, see how very different they are. Before we go on to my predictions, I will add that we are going to score each other each week, not by each score, but who gets the most scores correct. And come the end of the season, whoever loses will have to do a forfeit. Now, what the forfeit will be, well, we'll have to leave that. We'll leave that one.
This is the first I'm hearing of it, so I don't know.
I've just yeah. So we'll leave that.
Pull that one out your ass.
We'll leave that one wrapped up for the time being. But we will score these. So obviously the next prediction show that we air, we will score the previous week's predictions and see who won that game week, and we will go game week by game week. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that one. So I'll start, as Nathan did, Fulham at home to Arsenal. I will go left to right, and then finishing off, with Sheffield United v Wolves. And my predictions, Fulham at home to Arsenal. I've gone for a solid Arsenal 2-0 win. In all honesty, Again, I agree with what you're saying. I do like Scotty Parker. I think he's a good manager, and and he's done a good job to bounce back straight away with Fulham, which is never easy in the Championship, may I add.
Oh no.
But
No.
I just think, look, I've seen Arsenal. I know over this pre-season's not been a great pre-season for any club, but the games I have seen Arsenal play in, they've looked a little bit more robust at the back. They've not leaked as many goals, but they are capable of scoring. And I think whilst they've got Aubameyang fit, and whilst they are, most of the squad is fit, I think it's just been a nice, comfortable 2-0 win. I don't think Fulham will cause them too much problems. I've not seen Fulham kind of sign anyone that's kind of maybe going wow.
No.
So again, Arsenal for me, solid 2-0 win. I think they'll come away happy with that. Fulham will probably be disappointed, but to be honest with you, Arsenal at home on the first day, it's never easy. You're not going to have the crowd there giving you that extra bit of motivation. It's going to be difficult for loads of clubs on the basis that there'll be no one there. Promoted clubs get that bounce, don't they, from the fans being in the stands, and I don't.
Oh, they need it. They need the home form, don't they? It's well renowned. If you come into the Premier League, one thing that's going to keep you up is your home form.
Yeah, and obviously, I think that's going to play a bit of a factor for the best part of the season. So anyway, moving on to West Ham and Newcastle, and I've gone for a Newcastle win, and I've gone for 2-1.
Similar to me.
I've gone for 2-1, and I think West Ham will score. I think they will get a goal. But as we previously said, West Ham have had a really bad preparation for the new season. There's been so much unrest. The players, I don't think have they made a signing. If they have, it's not really anyone that's kind of excited me or
no, I don't.
kind of sit up and think, wow.
No one major. No.
No. So in Newcastle, 3 solid signings, and like you mentioned, Callum Wilson, he scores goals. He's creating chances. He scores goals. And
keep him fit, yeah. Especially against West Ham. I think he has a very good record against West Ham in particular.
He does.
As well.
And obviously John Joe Shelby for Newcastle, renowned for being a playmaker and will create chances. And if he can do that, then Wilson will score goals. So I've gone for a 2-1 win. And I think the Geordies will take that. It's not an easy game, West Ham.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I think they'll take that all day long. Moving on to our lot, and I'm not as harsh as you.
I see that.
I don't think we'll be trounced. I don't think we'll lose. I think it'll be a 1-1. I think I agree with what you're saying. West Brom are going to be up for it, but I have taken into the fact that there is going to be no fans. The atmosphere is going to be flat, and whilst they'll be bouncing that they're back in the Premier League, I don't think they're going to have. I don't think they're going to have that extra bit about them where they would have had if the fans were there. Same with us. Same with us to a degree. But I think it'll be a 1-1. I think Brendan will set us up in a way that he doesn't want us to lose, knowing the circumstances that we're in with the suspensions and the injuries. So I think we'll set up. I don't think we're setting up for a draw as such, but I think he will set us up to be robust and solid and make sure we don't concede. Even though I have got 1-1.
Would you take a point?
I think I would. And most Leicester fans
I think we're going to be 3-0 down. I think we're going to be 3-0 down in half an hour, so I'll definitely take a point.
I think most Leicester fans will sit there and go, "You're mad." But let's all take into consideration that Ricky P's still injured. Madison's doubtful. Johnny Evans is suspended for the first 3 games.
Chilwell's
left.
Yeah.
There's 4 players from our starting 11 last season that are not going to feature. Wes Morgan's doubtful. Now, whether we respect Wes or whether we rate him or not, he's going to be a useful player to have when you've only got youth players available. So I think we're going to be really thin on the day, and I think Brendan.
Oh yeah, like I said,
I think Brendan will.
No one knows who we're going to play. No one can name the team.
No, I know. There's rumours that he might go with a 3 at the back. I think it's a bit risky considering we've only got so many fit centre halves. But I think it'll be a draw. West Brom on the other hand made a couple of good signings. They look well equipped, but I just think we've got an half decent record at the Hawthorns, haven't we?
Oh wait, no, we're a far better team. Even us at 70% strength is better than West Brom on the day. It is, but I think it's more the mentality. That's why I think we'll get trounced by them. I think it's more a mental thing as opposed to an ability thing.
I think my prediction there is kind of what I'd be happy with, more than what I maybe think will happen. But 1-1's what I've gone with. We'll move over to Brighton at home to Chelsea, and I've gone for another comfortable Chelsea win. Yeah, I don't think Brighton will score. I don't.
Same as me.
I think.
Well,
I look at Chelsea's potential lineup on the day. Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Espilicueta. Obviously, I'm not sure I've got left back. Chilwell's injured. Kovacic, Kante. I know Covington's rumoured to be leaving. Jorginho, the new fella Havertz, you've got Mount, you've got Timo Werner. It looks ridiculous, and
on
I
paper,
just think they're going to get to Brighton, and I just think Brighton won't have enough. I don't think they'll have enough, and I think Chelsea will just run away with it. I think Chelsea will be up there this year. I hate to say it because, like you said, I think it's like they're playing FIFA, and there's no realism about it, but it is real life, and they are spending ridiculous amount of money. I think they'll be comfortable. I do. I think they'll completely run away with it. And Brighton, they play some nice stuff, but they were known last year for not really having that killer instinct.
Soft underbelly.
Very,
that's what I'd say.
very much so.
Easy to get at.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll have that killer instinct. And I think against Chelsea, you've got to have that killer instinct because you're only going to get 2 or 3 chances, and you've got to take them, and you might not even get that. So. Yeah, comfortable win for me for Chelsea, and I think they'll finish the opening week top of the table, going on that score. The next one, obviously, as you've just said, it doesn't really whet your appetite. It's Palace v Southampton, and I've gone for a Southampton 2-1 win on the basis that I thought they finished last season really solid. I thought they were fantastic, as we've spoke about this before in the predictions for the final league table. They finished really well. From the night they lost to us 9-0, they pushed on and they accumulated more points than what we did. And Palace, on the other hand, only took 1 point, I think, from the final 7. From the whole pre-lockdown. Was it pre-lockdown? No, sorry, after lockdown.
Well, as soon as they found out they were safe, they sort of down tools. Exactly. Even though there was a chance they could have pushed into Europe, they weren't interested, no ambition. And we mentioned about hangovers before. Yeah. And I just think this is part. I think Palace's race is run.
I do, yeah, and I think Southampton Palace will score. I think they'll get a goal. They're renowned for having an okay home form, nothing special, but they normally give you a game, don't they? Down at
once again, no fans again.
No fans.
Once again, no fans.
Yeah, and I think that will play a part. Southampton, on the other hand, play some nice slick football. It looks like they're going to keep Danny Ings at the moment, and if they do, I think they'll have a good season. And I've gone for a solid 2-1 win.
Even Chatham started scoring a bit towards the end of last season, so he found if he can pick up where he left off, and they've got 2 strikers capable of scoring goals, it eases the burden on Ings.
It does,
and it could be a good omen for them.
It does. Next, I've gone for the Liverpool game against Leeds. I've gone for a solid 3-1 win. I kind of agree with what you're saying, and I do think Liverpool won't be at the races. I just don't rate Leeds. I don't rate them at all. The
squad isn't great, is it? When you look at it, it's not an amazing team.
No, I think they played some nice stuff in the Championship, but the gap between the Championship and the Premier League, I think, is the biggest it's ever been, and I think.
Oh, you're not telling me in a month for Sundays Luke Ayling is a starting Premier League defender?
No, not a chance.
I'm not having
not a chance.
No chance.
And I will probably be made to be left to eat humble pie. But from what. Leeds play some nice football. I will give them that in the Championship. They were excited, and they worked hard. But this is a different kettle of fish. And I think if you look at the last few Premier League sides, Championship sides that have come up, regardless of whether they play nice football or not, they've struggled. And there's only been probably a handful where you could probably say where they played well and managed to finish in a strong position, i.e. Sheffield United. But again, Sheffield United didn't play great football. They just got a system that worked. Wolverhampton Wanderers, obviously, they came up and they bought well. They strengthened very well. And, they are an established Premier League side. Leeds, on the other hand, and I could compare them to Fulham a few seasons before that, and maybe Villa. They came up, they played some good stuff in the Championship, but it's so different in the Premier League.
The thing is, as well, I think with Leeds, and I've not heard anyone. They didn't run away with the Championship.
No.
I mean, there are vulnerabilities there. They're not, like I said, on paper, they're not an amazing team on paper.
No.
I know they won the league, but I think back usually when we think back to when we won the league and teams before us won, it's like you're talking about 100 points. Leeds were nowhere near that.
No.
Like they weren't head and shoulders.
No, they had a
very good system, and it worked for them.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if Leeds, underwhelm. So I do not think on paper they're a Premier League outfit.
No, and I see a lot of fans, Leeds fans especially, raving about this Rodrigo signing. I watched him the other night play for Spain in the Nations League, and he missed it. He missed a sitter for a start. He did well to bring it down. He took it around the keeper, but just didn't know when to get his shot away. But from what I did see of him, I didn't think he was anything special. And then I kind of,
Oh, he's not.
I know you,
No, he's
I know
not.
you can't take stats into consideration all the time. But you look at his season at Valencia, 4 goals in 27 games. Now,
I'm not bothered they signed.
no,
I don't.
it
fear
doesn't worry me.
Rodrigo.
Doesn't worry me
Oh.
at all. I don't. Again, so I've gone for solid 3-1 Liverpool. I think I do agree where Liverpool haven't strengthened enough in depth, and I think over the season it may come back to bite them. But I think on the day, man for man, as long as they've got everyone fit, I think they'll just be too much. I think they'll be too much for Leeds. They play some good stuff. Liverpool. They know the drill. They know the roles. That they play to the system very well. Klopp's got them operating it very, very well at Liverpool. So I've gone for a solid 3-1. So I've gone for a tight Everton 1-0 win against Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I don't think Spurs are going to be all that this year. And I've mentioned about how I think Mourinho is a little bit of a dinosaur in the Premier League, and he's not what he used to be. They were a bit of a mixed bag towards the end of last season, Spurs, and they've not signed. Well, I know they've made some signings, but Matt Doherty, he's not one that kind of.
Højbjerg.
Yeah, 2 signings that are okay. They had fairly solid seasons for the clubs last year. But are they going to improve Spurs? I don't think they will.
I think it's more depth, isn't it? Really, I think Doherty at fullback could do a bit of a job, but Højbjerg, I think it's more of a depth signing,
maybe
more bolstering the ranks.
I don't think they're going to have the season that they probably want or that they expect to have. I think, but Everton, they've made 3 cracking signings. They've transformed the midfield. Are they that kind of team to go on and break into the top 6? I don't think so. The front 3 or the front 2, whatever they're going to play, are not great. I just think I always find with Everton they either have a very good start or a bad start, and then they have the complete opposite in the second half of the season. And I think they'll have a good start, but I think they'll peter out. I think as time goes on, but I think it'll be a tight game. I just think Spurs are going to be in for one of them seasons. I really do. And Everton, solid 1-0. Up next, Sheffield United v Wolverhampton Wanderers. And again, a tight game. But I think Wolves will nick it. I think they'll nick it 1-0. Sheffield, again, a little bit of a mixed bag after lockdown. A bit hit and miss. They kind of lost grip, didn't they, on the Europa League places. Which they'll probably be gutted about. As silly as that sounds, they'll probably be gutted about.
Sort of ran out of steam, didn't they, a bit towards the end?
Yeah. And like you've just said, second season syndrome, maybe. We know it's a thing, and it kind of some clubs suffer from it, some clubs don't. But again, the signings that they've made, just don't think they're good enough. Maybe depth. It might be depth. I don't think they're good enough. And I think you look at Wolves, and they've brought in a class player in. Is it Silva? Is his name Silva?
Yeah. The kid from Portugal.
He's got something about him, and they've already got a very, very good side. Wolves, no European campaign to worry about. I think they'll be prepared, and I think they'll get a 1-0, and I think they'll have a cracking season. Wolves. I think they will be the best of the rest this year. I think they'll take that tag. So there's our predictions. Hopefully, we'll see how many we get right. Probably be a complete mile off. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. Drop your predictions in the comment section below, as always. We
will be back every week, won't we, with these predictions? So this is the start of a new era. So make sure to check back in next Wednesday, next Thursday, whenever it goes live, to see that our predictions will be up.
And to not miss out on a video, as always, don't forget to sub, hit the notification bell, just to make sure that you are on board with the NN podcast train that is just taking off as we speak. So it's been a cracking video, guys. I've enjoyed it. But as for now, we will see you when we see you.